Hey guys, this is Gabe Dimmick from the Baseball Rebellion, and for today's swing breakdown, we're going to talk about newly elected Hall of Famer Jeff Bagwell. So very impressive stats. He was a 297 hitter for his career. I believe it was 400 and close to 450 home runs, close to 1,000 OPS. So he had a great career. He was a member of the Astros for I believe his entire career, except for maybe a couple years. But I don't remember him ever being anything but an Astro. And he was known for being on the Astros teams and part of the Killer Bees. So it was, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, Lance Berkman. I think Derek Bell was a part of that as well. So, a slugger. He really got in for his offensive numbers early in his career. He stole some bases as well. So that definitely helped his cause. Jeff Bagwell was known for, his unique start and kind of his wider, more crouched down, very tilted. Casey just did a revision of one of Chaz's old articles talking about how tilt is okay and hinge at the hip is okay. And that's something that is really important and really helpful in a swing. And so, yeah, Bagwell was very crouched down, and he was very wide, and so a lot of people thought that was unique and strange, and it was. But he actually used that movement well, or used that starting position well, and moved well out of it. And so, one thing that I've been talking to hitters a lot about is the idea of going from folded to unfolded quickly and transitioning quickly between those two moves. So what I mean by folded when I talk to hitters is this fold. Okay, so a lot of hitters will start more narrow or a little bit taller, and then as they stride, they'll move more into this position where they tilt. Okay, and so you can do it either way. Bagwell's a guy who kind of more like to preset that tilt, and again, you can see that there's a big fold there, right? And so what we're going to see here is, Bags is going to go into his stride here. Okay, he's going to pick up his leg. He's already pretty wide, so he's not going to really move forward, but you're going to really see him, basically open and rotate the back leg to set his front foot down. Okay, so you're going to see him go, and that back knee is really going to turn in. You can see the back leg turning in, right? So you can see that movement starts, though, before his front foot's on the ground. So he's basically turning his front foot down, right? So from here, the back hip is still resisted, back knee is closed. You're going to see here as he goes to open, boom, right here is his landing, and you can see that he's already way open with his back leg. You can see that belt line turning open, front knee open, front foot open. So he really did that prior to his foot hitting. So he basically rotated his front foot down. And one thing that he did really well in that transition phase is his head went from, right here at his midline, and then he really just kept his head still. It kind of went up a little bit, but it really stayed still as far as front to back. And then his rotation, if we mark it right when his foot hits, his heel hits, you can see his head's over his back hip now. And so in my last article, I actually talked about how landing in this position where we've let our hips go forward. For him, he was more of a guy who started with his just feet wider, so his hips and his base, his feet were already fairly far apart. So landing with that wider base down low, whether you stride into it or you start wide, and then the upper body, the head landing more over the back hip. And so what that creates is this angle through his spine. Okay, and so that little bit of lean back at his landing here allows the barrel, as long as his head stays still as he turns, allows the barrel to really work around him extremely well and clear space for him to pull the ball with authority, and he doesn't get in his own way. Some players, I talked about how, maybe if your head's more forward, more of the front hip, or even more of the middle, you have to kind of fight your own torso to clear space for your barrel to turn. But because his spine is back, he has a lot of space where he's going to be able to turn this barrel upward really nicely through it. Again, great separation. He really does a nice job of keeping the knob and the barrel back. You can see this knee way forward, this hip or the belt line way open, his chest very closed, and so that's creating a really nice stretch. And as he fires, you're going to be able to really see that barrel turn back behind him. Okay, so you're going to see the barrel turn. It's in the way of the catcher's mitt, right? So here's the catcher's mitt. We can see the ball. So here's the path the ball is going on, and you can see that his bat is really on that path, early. I'm going to change colors here. we'll go to a red color just so we can see it. And so you can see that his barrel right here is coming up through that path very, very nicely, and then he's staying on plane a long time before coming out. So, he's really got a very big window where he could actually make a mistake, but he's still okay. So you can see this window here where, this guy could mess up. So I'm going to draw this box here. He could mess up. So we've got this big area. It's this big area where the red and the green overlap, right? So he's turning it in the way, he's keeping it in the way, and how did you do that? Well, he does a really nice job from this position of, again, I talked about folding and then unfolding, right? Folding and then unfolding. So he's folded here, and then as his hip opens, he really starts unfolding. You can see him already getting, much less of a hinge. That hinge has already kind of come out, right? The hinge has already come out, and then as he goes to make contact, he's totally unfolded now. So we want to go from folded back here to unfolded as quickly as we can. Fold, unfold, fold, unfold. And that's something I've been telling a lot of hitters, and it's really been helping them feel their glutes really helping their swing, their legs really working their swing, and it's also helped them get the barrel path coming uphill. Talking about Bagwell's upper body now, you can really see that front arm working up. So as the back arm works down, the front arm works up. You can see those work as a unit, right? So you can see, right here, the back elbow is higher, front elbow is lower, and we're just going to watch those switch. So back elbow is now down, front elbow is now up. And, a lot of coaches talk about we don't want to see the front elbow go up. We don't want to see a chicken wing kind of action. Tony Gwynn used to talk about that all the time. But we actually do want to see that front arm go up, because that's how the barrel starts to fall back behind us and get deep into the zone if that front elbow works up. You can see how high that is. So hitters, don't be afraid of that. We want to see that transition. That really helps that good swing plane to happen when we can get our elbows and our shoulders kind of working equal and opposite. Backside going down, front side going up. Okay, let's check his head movement here as he is kind of going to turn. Okay, so again, right from his landing here, let's see what his head does. His head's going to stay very, very, very still as he's turning, right? Very still. And so as that back hip is working up and forward here, you're going to see that head staying still, and that's that big unfold action that he gets here. Again, torso slightly leaned back. Because of where he landed in his stride, that barrel had plenty of space to turn and make contact and pick up speed behind him, but then make contact right around his front shoelace, and this is actually an outside curveball that he hits over the left center field fence. So Bags is a beast, and I love a lot of what he did in his swing. Even if it was maybe a little unorthodox, he was a big, strong guy. He didn't need a giant move forward. He just kind of went up, down with a great turn, great separation, and really came uphill through the ball. And so sometimes it's as simple as that. That's what you got to do. And so if you're maybe a bigger, stronger player, you can maybe afford to be a little safer, like maybe Bagwell was, being as wide as he was. He didn't have to move his head very much, so he probably saw the ball very well. He just made sure that his legs and his hips were really working well into his turn, creating great separation, and his swing path was great, which allowed him to be consistent because his barrel was in the way of the ball for a long time, and it also allowed him to create lift to hit for close to 500 home runs, 450 home runs, something like that, which obviously served him well as he's going into Cooperstown now. I got one more view here. Certain things we obviously can't see as well, but we get a little more of the pitch and a little bit more of the view of Bagwell here. And so you can see he starts with a little open stance here. You're going to see him stride slightly, really just kind of in to get his heels in line. But as he's doing that, you can still see this tilt, right? So here's where his knee is to his butt and to his shoulder. So that's his tilt. And then you can see him unfold out of that to where, if you can imagine from that side view again, from his back leg up through his hip and through his shoulder, he's unfolded now. So fold, unfold, coming up through it. You can see how still his head remains. His head is not really moving at all. Moves slightly in toward the plate just because he had that open stance, but from right here on, his head really, really remains still. You can really see his barrel. He used what we call a tip, where he gives the barrel some momentum. So the barrel's facing here, as it rotates back, and you can see, again, you can see him turning his foot into its landing, right? You can see his front foot off the ground, okay, front foot off the ground, and you can see this back heel pop up. So this is a perfect example of a heel pop in the back, heel drop in the front. So his turn is open, or lifting the back heel. His turn is setting the front foot down, and you can see as that move is happening, his barrel comes back into this, more 45-degree type of area, and then he's just going to turn it back into the zone in the way of the ball and come up through it, okay, and creates that great swing path that we just talked about. The last thing I'll talk about here is watch where Bagwell leans in his finish here. So you can really see him lean towards his back leg, and I love that because it's a complete fast turn, and our back leg should work kind of like a kickstand on a bike. And so at the end, to be able to balance, we want to lean toward the kickstand. So let's say he leaned a little bit to his left, he probably is gonna roll over a little bit more. He's not gonna have any balance because there's no leg back here for him to balance on. There's a leg in the front, but we don't want our weight on our front leg. We want it on the back leg. So since his back leg's on the right side of his body, his head stays really still, comes up through it, and really leans toward the back leg. So you can really see that is what's holding him up at the end in this great turn, this great finish, and this ball is absolutely crushed. So one thing that I've been making sure that I'm doing on these breakdowns is giving you guys the full picture fluidly, all the way through. So that's some of you don't want to hear my voice, so you can just skip to the end and watch these videos all the way through. Just kind of watch how he moves in fluid motion, and I'll go back and do that from the side view as well. So again, watching this a couple more times. Great turn, finishing all the way through to the end. And here's that side view. Again, not a whole lot of movement forward, but great separation, great swing path, great sequence of his body, allowing him to produce force up through the ball with a great launch angle. So here's a couple more, and then we will be done with this week's swing breakdown. Awesome hitter, awesome swing. Feel free to leave your comments below, and thanks for watching.